Good morning, it's Mark at Top Local Lead Generation in Vancouver. We're here with Mr. Bernie Pollock of Pollock Automotive, Vancouver's 15-time winners of Best Auto Repair in Vancouver as voted by their customers. How are you doing today, Bernie?
Really good.
So we're going to talk about a subject that's unfortunately near and dear to my heart, VW TDIs and the massive fraud that's been perpetrated on 11 million customers worldwide. And what can we do about it? So what have you found out so far in your research, Bernie?
Well, a couple of things, but I wanted to put a question to you. I know you own one of these vehicles, so you're obviously, it's important to you. What have you said you have found out a couple of things. What can you share with us? You
Sure.
talked to Volkswagen, I understand.
Sure. So I called VW. Actually, I was going to call a dealership, and VW has a intercept phone number on there now. If you're calling about the TDI, click this number. So I did, and it of course goes to a call center in, I believe, in Montreal somewhere. And they have no answers. We're as in the dark as you are, sir, was their final response. No. Who knows? Further research turned up they have a web page where they basically go through all the different questions you might ask. What if they detune it and a few miles goes down? We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know is the answers as of today, October 16th, 2015. So it's been about a month. So not much progress as far as actual, let's do something about this. That's what I found.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I can speculate on a few ideas that Volkswagen has to fix it. And obviously, they're probably working hard somewhere. They just don't want to say anything until they come up with their strategy. But I mean, I see they have really two options. One is to simply detune the engine to meet the EPA emission standards, the emission standards they claim the vehicle is going to have. Cost of that, of course, is going to be a decreased gas mileage and engine performance. How much, it's hard to say, but it will definitely not be the same car that you were driving before. From Volkswagen's perspective, that's probably the cheapest way to do it. I mean, once they rewrite the software, which is probably not all that difficult, it's simply a matter of driving into the dealer, plugging it in, they reprogram it, it's out the door in half an hour, and really the cost is pretty minimal to them. The other option, and the better one, I think, for consumers would be to put a urea system in. This could be, I heard somewhere speculating about $5,000, and I don't really know. It could be more, it could be a bit less, but this would involve pretty extensive work. They'd have to obviously reprogram the vehicle as well to accept the system, but there would have to be a tank put in the trunk, plumbing, electrical components, exhaust system changed over to a different type of catalyst. So that would be a lot more work, probably a day's type of work for each car. There's 11 million cars out there. That's a lot. And $5,000, I did a little rough calculation. That's $5.5 billion, not to mention all the administrative costs and all the other things that are going to occur. For the consumer, I mean, the downside is you have to add some urea to your tank. It's not very expensive. I mean, it would probably cost you from, depending on how much you drive, 20 to $50 a year. It's really very minimal and probably the best option. But those, from what I can tell, are probably the two best things, the two ways it's going to happen.
So would the urea option impact the performance and the mileage?
I don't believe so. I think you'd probably be able to keep that intact, and I don't know, it's possible they might even find some improvements in mileage and performance by adding that system, but which would actually be a nice little bonus for the consumer, but I wouldn't want to say it might just be the same as.
Sure. So one of the things that I mentioned to you that I thought was, well, an immediate fix was let's just put it on biodiesel and, that'll cure it. And so what's the problem with that?
Well, biodiesel is definitely less polluting than petroleum diesel, but it still doesn't eliminate the NOx issue because NOx is created, it's a formation of combustion temperature and pressure, and diesel has a lot of pressure and it has a lot of temperature, and that's why NOx is so high in diesel. So NOx comes from the air. Basically, there's nitrogen in the air, there's oxygen in the air, and that's what happens. So so diesel's diesel does, does create a lot of NOx. That's the downside of it. But the hydrocarbon and carbon monoxide emissions, I believe, would be decreased by using biodiesel, from what I've read. Plus, it certainly smells a whole lot better too.
Well, I've done it on previous cars, and they run. There's more power too, because the cetane rating is actually higher for a biodiesel compared to petroleum, compared to dead dinosaur bone.
Yeah, that's certainly an option.
And what else? I mean, I guess there's other options. I don't know. I haven't researched it yet. I don't know if you have yet. I know Mazda has a low compression diesel, 14-to-1 compression. And I'm not sure what kind of system. They didn't even bring them into Canada. I think they're in the United States, certainly in other parts of the world. I have no idea how they get that nitrous oxide, or if it even makes as much nitrous oxide, because the compression is so much lower.
I don't know much about that diesel engine, but I would speculate that having that lower compression, there's probably a few advantages. One would be lower NOx, because the combustion pressure and temperatures would be lower. But I think the other reason they make the engine like that is they can make it lighter. Diesel has to be made pretty robust, because pressures are so high that the engine could explode pretty easily. So diesels tend to be a lot heavier than gasoline engines. So I think one of the reasons they went for that lower compression was was a lighter weight engine, which is more economical. One other area you're mentioning to me, as an owner of a Volkswagen, and I've had a couple of people call about this type of thing. I mean, what do I do? Do I just get rid of the car? And I would just encourage you, if you own one of these cars, the sky isn't falling in. I mean, it's a bad thing that Volkswagen did, and I'm sure they'll come up with a solution, and there'll certainly be some financial compensation, and it's going to be hard on the company. I wouldn't have wanted to buy shares in the company before this happened. That would definitely be not a great scenario, but they'll come up with a solution. I mean, they'll be forced to, and they'll do something to make it right. As far as the value of the cars, I did speak with a friend of mine who's an independent car dealer, and he said, well, I might pay a little less for them, but I'm not overly concerned about it for the time being. So, there's probably a slight drop in value of the cars, but I don't think it's huge. And, if you're planning on keeping the car for the long term, which a lot of people who buy these cars are, I'd just say hang in there with it. Volkswagen will come up with a solution. I mean, it still drives. You still got the great mileage and power, and, they will come up with an emission solution. So that's my thought. It's a bit of a bad blip, but I'd say don't just get rid of the car right away. There's other solutions. Things will come. Yeah.
So that's kind of as much as I'd like to have the problem go away, it's funny how you are sort of proud about driving a car one day, you find out something, and the next day it's the same car, drives the same way, and now I'm not so proud.
Well, obviously,
that's my problem, really. That's not Volkswagen's problem. Volkswagen's got to fix the car, and they will.
Yeah.
One way or another. Whether it's, we get compensated as an owner from Volkswagen, from class action lawsuits by forcing them to pay people and for their mistake, for their fraud. They're going to pay a lot of money. They really put the company at risk. So, stay the course.
I think so. I think just stay the course, and it'll work its way. It'll work its way through. I mean, as you said, but it kind of brings me to the point with cars. There's a lot of reason why people buy cars for different reasons, and a lot of people bought. I mean, most people bought the TDI Jetta for the economy. It's got some performance, and it's good for the environment. I mean, not necessarily good, but it's one of the better options for the environment as far as an automobile goes. So, when it's understandable you wouldn't feel so good about driving your car after you find out, it's like your spouse cheating on you. It's like, even if you've had a 20-year marriage and it's been fabulous, it's like all of a sudden there's like something that's kind of in the way and it needs to be worked out. So that's that's not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just wait till get it fixed up and then move on.
So one of the things that we'll do is we'll collect up some URLs. We'll put them in the comments on this, and we'll share those on social media, so other owners have resources to check. And I'm sure other people are kind of wondering what the heck's going on, as am I. So we'll try and share all that information. And if we find anything more, if there's other solutions, we'll check and share those. Maybe we will revisit this in the future when Volkswagen comes up with their solution.
I think that makes sense. Once Volkswagen actually comes up with a plan, then we can discuss that from there.
Awesome.
Keep your eyes and ears open.
All right. So anything further, Bernie?
Oh, I think that's all. That's it.
Summing up, they're good cars. They still get good mileage. They still have power. They're polluting a little more than we thought, but they've been polluting that way right from the day we bought the darn thing. So, that hasn't changed. So continue until they fix it. It's up to Volkswagen now. And if you need service on yours, the guys to go see are the guys at Pollock Automotive in Vancouver. You can reach them at pollockautomotive.com. or give them a call to book your next appointment, 604-327-7112. Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Mark. Talk to you soon. Bye.